digital innovation, right. So, what does this mean? It's again new ideas and methods or products or even business process that you want to actually redo or create a new one. These all of these are arising from the use of digital technologies. So that's digital innovation for you, right. So without digital technologies, many of these new ideas and methods and products are not possible. That's the distinction between traditional definition of innovation and digital innovation. And so this is again, you have to look at all these terminologies that I am talking about and definitions in the total context of the digital world, right. So all of them are interrelated in some way to some aspect of digital technologies, right, that is enabling this thing to happen. So digital 5 forces, this is a very, very important framework in my view, because for you to put a frame and understand what's going on in the world, you have to understand these 5 forces, right. So this is what I put together, right. So I talk about this a lot in my other classrooms as well, right, at Cal State and Mission College and so on, where I also teach. So this is this digital 5 forces. We're going to go deeper into this in the next video session number 3, but I'll give you a hint on what we are going to see. So connectivity is about how we are all connected. So half the world, half the population of that's 6.7 billion, which is going to become 9 by 2020, right. Over 50% of the population are connected through smartphones. Phones are essential. Phones have become cheaper. Phones have become smaller, right. That's why you see miniaturization on the list, because as things become smaller and more affordable, and its cost of building it is cheaper, then it's more accessible by more people, right. So that's the logic there. So you have 3 billion people with smartphones, and that's rising very fast every year, right, in double digits for at the very least. So this sort of connectivity means that people are looking for information to either buy or search for something or share something and so on, correct. So that's what we are doing in the world today, right. We are always on our smartphones for the most part. We are highly connected. We can talk to anyone in any part of the world using, for example, WhatsApp. And that's the force of connectivity that's enabling that, right. Consumerization is a phenomena that can be described in different ways, but what I am talking about is how consumers now have a wider choice because of the internet connectivity, right. That's really another view of consumerization. So buyers are in control of the transaction. We are a click away from choosing the competition, a competitive service, right. So that's consumerization, and then globalization has also become part of this perfect storm, right. Another force, a huge force, because of connectivity, and also because buyers worldwide, they have similar needs, right, and similar wants, but they want to be served differently based on their local tastes and societal impact and so on. So globalization is a very interesting aspect. Even so, as we know, during the election this year, there was a lot of talk about trade and globalization and trading between countries, and customs and tariffs and NAFTA and TPP and so on. Very, very fascinating, because globalization will not stop regardless of what actions we take. Globalization is already well on its path. The train has left the station, right. So it's a matter of how we want to manage globalization, right, at the country level and at the business level and even at the individual level, right. So globalization is something that is impacting all of us, right. So it's because of workforce shifting that is happening, work that has been outsourced from the US, for example, to other countries like Romania, India, Israel, and so on, and vice versa. There are things that are moving from there to here as well, right. So China, for example, is one of our biggest source of products in our country, in the US. So, we have to live with globalization. Every country is now starting to figure out how should we work in this digital context, right? This globalization force is inevitable, right? It's definitely there. We as consumers want that, right? So, how do we deal with globalization at the government level, at the business level, is really where the challenges are, and it's a force that one cannot ignore, right? Digitalization is another big force, huge force, right? What is digitalization? We're going to go into more detail when I start talking about this framework in particular in the next video session. Right? So, digitalization is basically you're taking a business process, for example, right? And you are using digital technologies in order to make it much more automated, right? There is no business process that will be completely automated. In some cases there may be, right? It depends on the use case, right? So, in some cases the business process can be completely automated because there is no need for human touch. In a lot of other business processes you need the human touch. A simple thing like budget approval, for example, right? You may have automated the entire process of generating a request and filling the requests from different departments in your company, and then you may have the final approval comes to you. That's how it works, right? Automate 80 or 90% of it, and then you have the human touch. The human intelligence is still required in this day and age, even with artificial intelligence, machine learning. These are terminologies that I'll explain later, right? But digitalization is also another huge force acting on our environment, right? So, we feel the effects of digitalization around us already. So, you go down to San Francisco now, you can actually order a coffee in 30 seconds with the Cafe X. That's the new robot sitting in one of those stations in San Francisco airport, right? So, you don't have to go stand in the queue anywhere. You just walk in, punch, and then in 30 seconds or less than a minute you get your coffee, right? And then you go. So, it's a fast-paced world. Everything is now real time. We want everything in real time. We want everything on demand. These 5 forces are really what is enabling that to happen. So, in order to understand the impact of the digital technologies and the digital world that we live in, there is definitely a need for sort of providing some structure, and that structure comes from digital frameworks. So, basically digital frameworks provide the underlying structure and context, obviously through the use of digital technologies, to craft and guide your business decisions. So, your Porter 5 forces, for example, that's a traditional framework that we are all familiar with for industry analysis, right? So, it provides a structure, provides a context in which we can analyze industries, right? So, can that framework be digitalized? Absolutely. So, that can become a digital framework, because you can actually incorporate digital technologies to drive those decisions, those 5 forces, Porter 5 forces, right? As an example, you can do the same thing with marketing 4 Ps. You may have heard about this, right? Marketing 4 Ps: product, promotion, price, and place. That's the foundation of marketing, invented by Philip Kotler, right, and his team. So, so that's also another framework that is heavily influenced by digital technologies today, right? Things are going to change. We're going to talk about that in the principles of digital marketing in the next course. Very exciting. So, these are all frameworks. Now, digital frameworks basically redefines those frameworks in the context of the digital world. That's about it.